Okay, I just want to
Lovely.
start by saying thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. Um, I
Course.
suppose we should go right back to the beginning. How did you first discover drag? How did you fall in love with the art form?
Oh God. I mean, back, not even a year ago, I was in a situationship.
Mhm.
Um, to the gay people, that is a grinder hookup. To straight people, that is just a relationship. And I mean, being in that entire situation, it was really, really difficult because I was always told, like, no, don't do that. I don't want a partner that does that. I don't want to mingle or mix and mingle with stuff like that. And I, for a while, was like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Hmm.
But then as soon as like I, was single and sat here on my own, I was there thinking, fuck it. I mean, I can do it. Let's
Hmm.
do it. And it just kind of started from there. I went more into depth when I did Etta's, and I told a lot of the people more,
Yeah.
gruesome details. But as it goes, I mean, no, I started drag just because I was always told I couldn't. I mean, I
Hmm.
lived in a hometown where drag is just not
Okay.
that relevant. And so, I mean, I just wanted to really break the
Hmm.
mold and try something new.
Hmm. And how did you come up with your name? How Ivory come about?
Oh God. I wanted a name that ended with a Y. I don't
Okay.
know why. I don't know why. Well, I don't know either. I wanted a name that ended with a Y because I wanted something that was just ended with a Y. I don't know how to describe it. It just kind of, it was like, the Disney logo, and it's like,
Hmm.
woof. I just thought about that. And then Ivory kind of came about, and I thought, Ivory's really pretty. It's really short, and it's going to be memorable. I mean,
Hmm.
it's not something like, alopecia lechete. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything crazy. So, it's something, a five-letter name, so memorable. And then Glam came about when I was actually with some friends, and they were all toying with the idea of drag, like all across the country,
Hmm.
and we thought Glam, last name Glam. And then Ivory kind of happened to be a bit of a pun. I very glam. And I thought,
Ah.
that sticks. That does stick. And no one ever knew it was a pun. Like, anyone I've told, they've all gone, "No, you're just making it up." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's like Shay with AC, isn't it?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking Shay with some AC, like air conditioning. Like, no, get fucked. You thought about that after, didn't you, my love?" But yes, Ivory Glam. I mean, it's just been the one name to always stick. I mean, I've tried other drag names like Bafuzela. No, I'm joking. I didn't. But I have tried other drag names, and they never really stuck. I mean,
Hmm.
for one, I wanted to be called Lux before season 14. I had Lux, Luxe, and then I found that it was so popular, like with brands, makeup
Hmm.
brands, and I just thought, no, I'm not gonna bother. So Ivory Glam has always been one that has stuck.
Hmm. And so, from that sort of conversation with friends, how did you get to actually attempt in drag or start in drag? How did that transition happen?
Well, I once I was kind of toying with the idea of drag, I was able to communicate with a few people around the area that did
Hmm.
similar things, i.e., whether it be drag, whether that been cosplay. I got into contact with a few people,
Hmm.
and they really said like, yeah, of course it's gonna be really difficult, it's gonna be this, that, and the other, but me personally, I know how it works.
Hmm.
I you know, I've not been a stranger to entertainment, I've not been a stranger to nightlife or anything of that
Hmm.
sort. So I thought, I can really do this. And
Hmm.
yeah, I kind of, that's when I bumped into a queener, actually, believe it or
Oh,
not.
okay.
And there's a long history with that one, but we've been friends way before Etta's.
Hmm.
Um, she helped me with the blueprint and said, like, this is how you're going to get your face looking right. This is how you're going to get your da 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 da. And then
Hmm.
we've just been best friends ever since. We help each other back and forth all the time. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't getting a phone call from her at 3 in the morning every night. So it keeps me young,
And
2022. But fucking
so, from
hell.
that playing with makeup, then, how was the first performance like? What was it like when you first stepped on stage as Ivory Glam?
Who has been telling you that these questions? Fuck me, right? My first time, um, I did a Rocky Horror Bingo,
Amazing.
and let's just say that I am not the biggest Rocky Horror fan. Oh, no,
Okay.
I don't. I like Rocky Horror, but I
Mm,
don't watch it in my spare time. So I knew maybe one or two songs at best, but I didn't know much. And then some situation had happened where I had to give my song away, and I wasn't particularly happy. And I ended up doing a lip sync to Taylor Swift, "Look What You Made Me Do."
okay.
Um, and it just went awful. I've got the
Mm.
video, and it's never going to see the light of day. Oh god, no! I fell, and like my heel got
Oh.
caught in my corset, and like my wig almost came off. It was no tragic. So my first performance was that, and then I actually got an email back. Well, we all got a collective email back saying like, yeah, it was really shit.
Oh.
But then Aquila was also there, and then there was also a few other girls.
Mm,
Um, we all kind of saw it as like a learning experience, and
mm,
since then, I've definitely learned a lot. Like mic, how to hold a mic,
mm.
you know, courtesy, letting people speak.
Yeah.
You know, without going into it all, I mean, it definitely takes time
Mm.
for
And
sure.
so from going from that sort of almost disaster, I suppose, you went from there and you skyrocketed to Etta's. So how did you
Well,
first find out about the drag marathon?
so my drag kind of took off. I kind of found my own style. I found my own foot, and I do a lot of the things that the girls may not understand, like the businessing, the marketing behind the
Mm,
emailing, the venues, and all sorts. So I got my foot in drag down where I locally live, which is a lovely little town called Paynton,
mm,
Devonshire area in general. And then I was at a gig one night, and I mean, I told Aquina to go to Cardiff because she was really looking forward to getting a new fresh start.
mm.
And I said to her, go to Cardiff. I mean, I've been to Cardiff several times. I feel like it's completely your vibe. You'll love it. And then something popped up on Facebook, which was basically an open call to audition for Etta's season
Mm.
2. And me being drunk after a gig once, I thought, yeah, I'll do that. It'll be fine. And like, I didn't even know it was in Cardiff. I just applied, and
Wow.
the audition process was really easy and really simple. I don't know if you know how to audition for Etta's, but it was quite literally a Facebook message to Etta Buffet's business account on Facebook
Mm.
with a couple of photos and a bit of writing. It really wasn't that complicated. Like we've all shared auditions together, and like I think I was the one that wrote the most. So I was just jabbering about like I'm a superstar, baby, and everyone at like Shay's fucking audition is like, I'm Shay with the CSL shots. So literally, I remember doing that and then thinking, oh my god, this is in Cardiff. How am I going to do that? So I told Aquina about it, and then Aquina applied, and literally we were on the phone together, and we got a message back from Etta going, "You're on."
Oh, amazing.
So I then thought, "Fuck, how am I going to get to and from Cardiff?"
Oh, so have you done a sort of competition before? Have you competed before?
So for a lack of better terms, no. So as it goes for drag competitions, I that was my first ever one.
Okay.
I've I'm not really a competitive person,
Mhm.
or so I didn't think I would have been. I don't like conflict. I mean, to me personally, I saw it as just a giant opportunity for the girls to get together and produce a show
Yeah.
together. You know, there were times when we would all be backstage, well, a little backstage
Yeah.
area behind the judges' booth, and like girls would be crying or they'll be sat down, almost on the brink of an anxiety attack. And I just say to them, like, don't overthink it. I mean, whether you get good or bad critiques, whether the performance wouldn't have been the best, it's all a learning curve and an
Mm.
experience for all of us. So, I mean, I definitely vouch for myself in saying that I don't think all of my stuff was the best in Etta's, but with the added stuff of traveling each week and
Mm.
the added dramas that were coming about, it
Yeah.
it was kind of really, really difficult.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just a collective, really. I mean, I enjoyed it.
And obviously, for those who don't know, obviously you get weekly challenges to compete in. Were there any challenges that you were looking forward to that maybe you didn't do as well in, or vice versa, where you thought you wouldn't be good, but you really excelled?
Well, we got the giant list, and I think
Mm.
all of us kind of looked at it and thought, oh no, this is like
Mm.
low budget drag race. Like wacky races being, Snatch Game and vice versa. I looked at all the challenges and thought, You know what? I've never done any of them. Like
Okay.
other than maybe performances, like
Mm.
I've never done a celebrity impersonation. I've never done a roast. I was looking forward to the roast. Everyone else, where like in my hometown, was not. They were like, "You're not going to be good at it.
Oh,
You're, yeah." They were like, "You're not that kind of person. A roast takes a lot of, you know, digging
yeah.
for like, little nooks and crannies and just knowing where to draw the line." And I just said to everyone, I was like, "Just you wait." And I did a lot of research about everyone, and I found, Miss Kitty's show in 2012 where she set the curtains alight in Minsky's. And I thought, I'm going to bring that up
Yeah.
and make her have basically PTSD in the person, in the flesh. I really enjoyed the roast. I did a lot better than I was expecting,
Hmm.
especially being told that I wasn't going to do that great. And Wacky Races as well. I mean, Wacky Races was a lot of fun, and I did not think I'd do that well. Um, as for challenges, I'm shocked I didn't do better at. It would have been the award show.
Hmm.
The award show was definitely one where I thought, well, we all kind of didn't really know what to do. We were all a
Hmm.
bit like the 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 guide was a bit like, because it's meant to be improv, so they're not meant to tell you
Yeah.
too much, but we were all kind of sat there like, we don't really know what to bring, what to
Hmm.
prepare. We have no idea. So the award show is definitely one that I think, I wish I could go back and do that now with the
Hmm.
prior knowledge of what it is. But other than that, I mean, yes, I don't think I relatively did too bad or
Hmm.
had any doubts or regrets or anything about Etta's.
Hmm. You mentioned Wacky Races. I know you played quite an iconic character for that
Yes.
challenge. How come you decided on that character?
Well, I had three characters I was gonna do, and
Hmm.
I had Abby Lee Miller. I watched dance, like I'm such a Dance Moms fanatic. I love Dance Moms. But then someone said to me, they're not gonna get that. Miss Kitty and Etta, they're looking for more iconic
Hmm.
characters. And Abby Lee Miller, while I do think if I was judging, I would have got it straight away and been like, haha,
Yeah.
funny. You have to kind of balance comedy that everyone's going to understand
Yeah.
versus, I have a weird sense of what I think is funny versus what everyone else thinks is
Hmm.
funny. So Abby Lee Miller was kind of like on the chopping block, and people said, don't do Abby Lee Miller. And then I mentioned Gordon Ramsay, and then they said, oh my God, that's such a good idea. And then my third character, Sophie Anderson, Cock Destroyer. I've got the giant titties for it and everything, and I had the ponytail ready, and I was gonna be like, "Hi guys," like it was gonna be so funny. But then again, it was with the judges. It's more
Hmm.
Gen Z humor rather than what they would have found funny. They would have just thought I was playing a fucking bimbo, and it would
Yeah.
have been like, none of it's funny. I mean, would have said I could have. I don't know,
Yeah.
but Gordon Ramsay at the time felt like the more appropriate choice
Hmm.
until I saw the little poster where everyone was playing, fabulous feminine women, and I was a wrinkly old man, and I was there thinking, oh my God, I like David Attenborough. But other than that, I mean, yes, Gordon Ramsay was something like in the moment, it's hard to say because in the moment it's
Hmm.
different.
And
Mm.
obviously, standing out as the only sort of masculine presenting character, do you think that did that make you stand out, or did it add more pressure for you to kind of really excel?
So I think all of us were kind of bricking it before Snatch Game.
Okay.
I remember Venus coming up to me and going, I literally am about to shit myself and die. And I was there thinking, I was there like, yes, she's cracking. I was like, I'm feeling great. We were all kind of bricking it, and
Hmm.
I said to Che, I mean, if you couldn't get it by now, me, Che, and Aquina have just
Yeah.
bonded so close from this experience. But I said to Che, I need to sit next to you. Like, if we're doing this, I need to sit next to you. Because if I sit next to anyone else, I know that it's going to be a dynamic. Like, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to make jokes with them, if they're going to find it funny, if they're going to like try and
Hmm.
throw me under the bus. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then me and Che were pretty dead set on sitting next to each other in the panel, like of two. And I'm so glad I did. But I mean, playing a male character, it did give me a bit of pressure because, again, seeing that poster, and I felt obligated to kind of drag it up, which is why I wore the trousers I did with heels on as well at the
Yeah.
time. I wore black heels through the entire thing. And I was worried that they were going to clock me for the look because
Hmm.
a big part of Etta's is your look. So while you can sacrifice some elements of
Yeah.
beauty to play a character, you still have to kind of set it up to be
Yeah.
drag. You still have to, you know,
Yeah.
show drag, which is why I stoned it. In fact, Justin Drag has the Gordon Ramsay shirt,
Oh,
which is
no.
stoned with crystals. I didn't do the back of it though because I didn't like the point. And then Justin was like, "It's not stoned all the way through." I'm like, "You can do that, my love. I'm done. I don't want to
Yeah.
see this thing ever again."
And then, so moving on from Etta's Drag Marathon, then obviously you've been
Yeah.
announced as a performer in Cabaret of Curiosities. How do you
Yes.
feel about taking your debut performance in that series?
So I feel kind of like, you know what, I'm happy
Hmm.
because supporting local drag is such a big thing. I think go support your local drag queens, no matter how you can do it. It doesn't matter if we have been on TV or if
Yeah.
we have just started. I think supporting local drag is such a big thing. So these little mini shows that are coming out now, I say mini shows, you know, with
Yeah.
pretenses like Cabaret, Queerosities, and Hell House.
Yes. Totally.
It's giving local performers a platform,
Hmm.
and I'm so happy to be a part. Not to say I'm not a local performer, like I am
Yeah.
on the same level than these girls. Like it's given us all a chance to get up on a
Mm.
stage and do something and show up, like show things that we couldn't show
Mm.
before. Like I mean, with Etta's, what was so difficult about Etta's was there was a category you had to
Yeah.
fit, and you would think, right, well, I'm gonna have to learn something new. With this show, I mean, I'm gonna be able to showcase drag that I do day to day,
Yeah.
like every other day, whatever. I'm gonna be able to showcase what Ivory Glam is, and to have that platform, it is really exciting, and I'm so honoured and thankful to
Mm.
Ice Amore for the opportunity.
Mm.
The only downside is I'm not from Cardiff, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, it's not a down the road walk for me. Like I have to try and organize travel, accommodation, the whole lot of
Yeah.
it. But I love what I do so much, which is why I do
Yeah.
what I do.
Oh, amazing. And obviously we've had a Cabaret of Curiosity shows before. Is there
Yeah.
pressure jumping into um a show that has had a really successful first show? Do you feel that pressure of having to be part of the continued success?
No, because Ali Balm was in the first one. No, I'm joking. I love my sister. I love her. Um, kind of and kind of not. Like I think with drag, there's always a big pressure to try and sell out the venue,
Hmm.
and because you know it's so easy to get dropped. I mean, even
Yeah.
from gigs I have back here, it's so easy to say, well, people aren't coming in. This isn't worth the money, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have to drop you until for the time being. And that's it's kind of like a really harsh reality that not everyone is gonna get it. You're not always gonna get told yes. You're not always gonna get told that you're Beyonce. You
Hmm.
are like Isamore is responsible for the show,
Hmm.
and in turn, we as performers are responsible for putting on a professional and
Hmm.
good quality show, which is why it is kind of a pressure to say, like Christmas, like their show they
Yeah.
did for Christmas was so good. It had such a big sellout, and
Hmm.
I mean, what was it? 70 people ended up
Yeah.
turning up to that. So if we don't have kind of the same success, if not better, it is kind of like,
Hmm.
well, what's the direction of the show going to be? Not that I wish it on
Yeah.
anything to
Totally.
downfall or anything, but it is always that added pressure of like, it will take one of us to do something, you know,
Yeah.
maybe make a couple of jokes that are out of bad taste
Hmm.
for it to, you know, go down the toilet.
Hmm.
So there is pressure for sure. But I don't have any doubt that any of the girls that are casted will put on a
Yeah.
show because from what I've seen, from what I've heard, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be one
Yeah.
to watch.
The cast is absolutely incredible this time. Obviously, it was
Mm,
fantastic, but lots of my good friends are performing as well this time. So very
yes.
excited to see everyone and perform. What can we expect from your performance within this show? Can you tease without giving
Oh.
too much away?
So I'm definitely going down a different path because I know Fuel is more
Hmm.
rock oriented. I've got a couple of songs that
Hmm.
I think are going to be more for that vibe.
Okay.
And I'm excited to showcase a more grungier, like it's not going to be bubblegum pop, like
Yeah.
la 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 la, princess. Like it's going to be more like deep rooted. And I'm going to try and,
Wow.
I say I'm going to try, I'm hoping that, you know, it all goes well. There's no like pianos that are going to fall on top of me or anything. But it's going to be a darker side, which I'm
Hmm.
excited to show. Um, Yeah,
Amazing.
I think that's all I can say without giving
Yes,
it
totally.
away.
So we're coming to the end of my questions. But where can people stay up to date with you and the events you're doing and the shows you're putting on?
Well, my socials, I'm not quite into TikTok at the minute. I'm gonna work on it.
Mm.
But Ivory Glam, well, Ivory underscore Glam underscore on Instagram.
Mhm.
You've got Callum Davis on OnlyFans. I'm joking. Don't. No, don't. Um, at the minute, it is just Facebook Ivory Glam and Instagram Ivory Glam. You should be able to find me. If not, then you don't really want to watch me, do you? So I do keep them up to date on my stories and posts and whatnot,
Okay.
and just the general area of Cardiff and hopefully other places come in the new year.
Fabulous. My final question is what advice do you have for young people looking to get into drag?
I'm waiting for you to pull a pitch up and go, what would you
What
tell
would you say to young?
them? Any advice I would give for people, I think the biggest one is don't be afraid to be too much.
Mhm.
I think people struggle a lot with thinking, oh, I shouldn't say that, or I can't do this, or oh, I don't want to message that promoter because it's going to be embarrassing if I get turned down. You're going to hear no so many
Yeah.
times because it's not the social norm. Like, we are men dressing up as women, and in some cases, trans men, trans women,
Mhm.
but we are still an oddity to a lot of people, and a lot of people aren't going to understand it. But you're going to have some of the weirdest experiences, and you're just going to have to take it on the head. Just don't change who you are
Mm.
to do what we do, because at the end of the day, you're going to be promoted for who you are,
Yeah.
not who they want you to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's my best advice I can give
Mm.
for people starting. And if I'm to be genuinely serious, also don't do it. It's uncomfortable, it's expensive, it's horrible. You're not going to be eating for days upon end. Not worth it.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I mean, if anyone wants to get involved into drag, like, I definitely would recommend,
Mm.
just keeping true to yourself and not taking no as a back set, but taking no as an opportunity to
Yeah.
change yourself.
Oh, amazing. So I'll start the same way. I'll end the same way I started, just by saying thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. Um,
Well,
put
thank
all
you for having
the
me.
It's no problem. I'll put all the links to Cabaret Curiosities in the description below and things like that, and your socials, so people can just scroll down and click away. But
Brilliant.
thank you so much for taking the time out, and I shall speak to you soon.
No, thank you for having me, and I'll see you soon.
See you,
If you're at the Cabaret show, I'll see you there.
see you there.